Welcome, hackers. Today we are going to be creating a 2024 Cleric using the D&D Beyond character builder. This is going to be a very basic character that would be easy for a new player to play. We will go through all the steps of character creation in the character builder and then level up the character a little bit and take a look at some important spells that will be very useful for new players as well as old. If you are a new player, this will be a great opportunity to see how to build a character within the character builder. And if you're an older player, this is a chance to get a quick sneak peek at some of the features that are available in the new version of the game. The first step is to pick our class. And as stated, we are going to pick the Cleric. The first thing we get to select is the core Cleric traits. You can see a lot of information about what you get with a Cleric. We will be going through and selecting a lot of these along the way. First thing we select is a skill proficiency. Your classic Cleric is going to be a healer type of Cleric. That's been pretty standard throughout the history of D&D. However, there are a lot of different ways that you can build a Cleric other than just standing in the back and healing the party, and we'll discuss some of those along the way. But for a basic healer type Cleric, we're going to start off by picking medicine and religion. As a Cleric, you are part of a religious order, so this will give you knowledge in religion and in medicine to help with your healing. We also at first level get spell casting. However, we'll take a look at that when we select spells. And then we get to select a divine order. You have dedicated yourself to one of the following sacred roles of your choice. The two options are Protector, trained for battle. You gain proficiency in martial weapons and training with heavy armor. And if you select Thaumaturge, you know one extra cantrip from the Cleric's spell list. In addition, your mystical connection to the divine gives you a bonus to your intelligence, arcana, and religion checks. The bonus equals your wisdom modifier. If you would like more abilities to cast spells and some bonuses on these checks, this is a good choice. I, however, am going to go with Protector so that it gives us training in heavy armor and martial weapons. The character we're building isn't necessarily going to be up in the front lines of battle, but if we have them trained in heavy armor and they need to rush to the front of the battle to heal an ally, for example, they'll be much more likely to survive that. Next, we click the arrow and we choose our background. We are going to choose the hermit background for this character because it gives us the healer feat as a origin feat, as well as an opportunity to raise our wisdom 2 points, which is our prime ability for casting spells. This is what gives us our bonuses to spell casting and makes it more difficult for monsters to resist our spells. And we'll raise our constitution by 1 because that gives us our hit points, and extra hit points allows us to survive a little bit longer in battle. And we can't heal our allies if we ourselves are dead. We get 2 skills to choose. We're going to go with Perception and Nature. We chose Perception and Nature because not only do both of those fit our hermit background, but they also are wisdom-based skills, which is going to be our highest stat. Next, we get to choose our species. For the Cleric, we're going to choose the Azamar. I believe they say it's pronounced Azamar. We're a humanoid. We get to choose our own size. I'm going to choose small for no particular reason at all. Our speed is 30. We have resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. We get dark vision up to 60 feet. Most importantly, for our healer, as a magic action, we can touch a creature and roll a number of d4s equal to our proficiency bonus. The creature regains a number of hit points equal to the total rolled. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So it's just once a day that you can use this ability, but it is additional healing for our healer Cleric. You know the light cantrip, and we have an ability to sprout wings or have some other things that can happen. Most importantly, we needed the healer ability within this. We're going to select 2 other languages. You can pick any 2 languages of your choice. And now we'll move on to the character's ability score generation. For our example, we're just going to use the point buy method. Wisdom, as I stated, is our primary ability, so we're going to take that up as much as it will allow us. Constitution gives us hit points, and we are adding extra to that, and we will put that at a 15 also. Some heavier armors require a higher strength, so we are going to give ourselves a 13 strength. Then we'll go 10 with dex and 10 with intelligence so that we don't have any negatives on any of those saving throws. And charisma that will then stay at an 8. This is going to give us a total of 16 on our constitution thanks to the +1 from our background, and a 17 on our wisdom thanks to the +2 to our background from wisdom. Next we get equipment. We will go with a chain shirt, shield, mace, holy symbol, priest pack, and 7 gold. And then we'll grab the healer's kit. The quarterstaff and the herbalism kit, bedroll, book, lamp oil, and traveler's clothes. This also gives us a little bit of starting gold if we want to add something else. We'll add all the starting equipment, and we will put on all of our gear, mace, quarterstaff, and our shield. Now we have one more step. We're going to come back to class and select our spells. At first level, we get 3 cantrips. So we're going to start off with guidance. Guidance will allow us to help one of our allies perform skill checks throughout the game. We're going to go with Sacred Flame. Sacred Flame will do some damage to our opponents if they fail a save. And we will go with Spare the Dying. Spare the Dying, when one of our party members reaches 0 hit points, instead of bleeding out, we can stabilize them so that they can survive, and we can heal them at a later time if we need to. Now we also get 4 first level spells. So we'll click this toggle on so that it only shows us first level spells. The classic first level spell would be Cure Wounds. This allows us to heal one of our allies for 2d8 hit points plus our spellcasting modifier. However, this one is a touch spell, so you have to be right up next to your party member, which may not be a safe location. So we will also take Healing Word, which allows us to heal one of our allies for 2d4 hit points, but it has a range of 60 feet. And it's only a bonus action, whereas Cure Wounds was a full action. So this would allow us to heal an ally from farther away and use a cantrip for damage or something else with our action. We're also going to take Bless, which allows us to grant our allies an additional d4 on attack rolls and saving throws. And then finally at first level, we will also take Shield of Faith. Shield of Faith gives a target of our choice +2 to their armor class. That target could include us if we need to protect ourselves a little bit, or to one of our allies that needs a little extra protection as well. So now let's go take a look at this character in the character sheet and see what it looks like. You can see on the character sheet the attributes up at the top of the screen, along with our proficiency bonus and our walking speed. We've got 11 hit points at level 1 and a 15 armor class, which we could raise a little bit with Shield of Faith if we chose. We have a few weapons that allow us to attack in melee if we would decide to. But most importantly, we have our spells. We have Sacred Flame for a spell that we can use at any time at will to attempt to do damage to an enemy. We also have Bless to help our allies, Cure Wounds, and Healing Word to heal them, and Shield of Faith to protect us or them. You'll notice that Bless and Shield of Faith are both concentration spells, so you can only have one of those up at a time. And at first level, we only have 2 spell slots, so you'll be relying heavily on your cantrips at this point in the game. Also, we have our Healing Hands ability that we can use once a day, as well as our Battle Medic ability, where as a utilize action, we can expend 1 use of the Healer's Kit to tend to a creature within 5 feet of us. That creature can expend 1 of its hit dice to regain a number of hit points equal to the roll +2. So now let's go back into the character builder and add a few more levels and see what we would get. We're going to jump right up to level 11 and we'll take a look at each ability we get along the way. The first thing we get at level 2 is our Channel Divinity. This is an ability that we can use in a couple of different ways. One is with Divine Spark as a magic action. We can point our holy symbol at another creature you can see within 30 feet of you and focus divine energy at it. Roll a 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. You either restore hit points to the creature equal to the total or force the creature to make a constitution saving throw. On a failed save, they'll take necrotic or radiant damage equal to that total. On a successful save, they take half as much. And the amount of d8s you get to roll goes up as you level up. You can also turn undead. As a magic action, you present your holy symbol and censure undead creatures. Each undead of your choice within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its save, it has the frightened and incapacitated condition for 1 minute. For that duration, it tries to move as far from you as it can on its turn. This effect ends early on the creature if it takes any damage, if you have the incapacitated condition, or if you die. Then at level 3, we'll pick our subclass. We're going to go with the Life Domain, as that's going to lean heavily into our healing ability. This gives us Disciple of Life. When a spell you cast with a spell slot restores hit points to a creature, that creature regains additional hit points on the turn you cast the spell. The additional hit points equals 2 plus the spell slot level. So this would be an extra 3 points of healing for a first level Cure Wounds or Healing Word. And as you cast higher level spells or low level spells with a higher level slot, it increases the amount of healing you can do even more. Life Domain. We have these spells added to our Cleric spell list, and they are always prepared, so we don't have to select them. At level 3, we get Aid, Bless, Cure Wounds, and Lesser Restoration. At level 5, we get Mass Healing Word and Revivify. At level 7, we get Aura of Life and Death Ward. And at level 9, we get Greater Restoration and Mass Cure Wounds. We also get the Preserve Life ability. As a magic action, you can present your holy symbol and expend a use of your Channel Divinity to evoke healing energy that can restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your Cleric level. Choose bloodied creatures within 30 feet of you and divide those hit points among them. This feature can restore a creature to no more than half its hit point total. The term bloodied creatures mean a creature that is at half hit points or less. So you can only use this ability on your allies that are under half hit points, and you can only heal them up to half their hit point level. So this would be something you would use when a good portion of your party is very badly damaged. And you would want to use this before you use any other healing abilities. At level 4, we get an ability score increase or a feat. We are going to take a feat, and the one we're going to pick is Inspiring Leader. This gives us a couple of benefits. The first one is we can increase our wisdom score by 1. And our wisdom score is what we use for our spell casting abilities. Also, when we finish a short or long rest, we can give inspiring performance, a speech, a song, or a dance. When you do so, choose up to 6 allies within 30 feet of yourself who witness the performance. The chosen creatures can gain temporary hit points equal to your character level plus the modifier of the ability you increased with this feat. So at this level, it would be 4 plus our ability modifier for wisdom, which is another 4, so we can give all of our party members 8 temporary hit points to help protect them from damage. At level 5, we gain Seer Undead when we use our Turn Undead ability from our Channel Divinity. We can roll a number of d8s equal to our Wisdom modifier and add the rolls together. Each undead that fails its saving throw against that use of Turn Undead takes radiant damage equal to the roll's total. This damage doesn't end the effect. At this point, our Wisdom modifier should be a +4, so we would roll 4d8 for an average of 18 points of damage to all the undead that we turn with the Turn Undead ability. At level 6, we get Blessed Healer. The healing spells you cast on others heal you as well. Immediately after you cast a spell with a spell slot that restores hit points to 1 or more creatures other than yourself, you gain hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. So not only are you healing other people, but you are also healing yourself just by doing that. At level 7, we get Blessed Strikes. Here we have two options. We can do Divine Strike. Once on each of our turns, when you hit a creature with an attack roll using a weapon, you can cause the target to take an extra 1d8 radiant or necrotic damage. Our character is not designed to be up front and fighting with weapons very often. We want to stay back and protect ourselves so that we can continue to heal our allies. So because of that, we're going to go with Potent Spellcasting, which allows us to add our Wisdom modifier to the damage we deal with any Cleric cantrip. At this point, our Wisdom modifier again is a +4, so we would be able to add 4 extra damage to any cantrips that we use. Ability score improvement. At this level, we're going to take another feat. We are going to go with Warcaster. Warcaster gives us a couple of different benefits. One is we can raise our Wisdom score again. This takes our Wisdom up to a 19, which is still only a +4. However, we're only 1 point away from taking it up to the maximum of 20, which will give us a +5 bonus on our Wisdom abilities. Also, we'll have advantage on Constitution saving throws that we make to maintain concentration. So when we have our spells like Shield of Faith or Bless, or some others that we'll take a look at here in a minute, it'll be harder for us to lose our concentration on those spells. Thus, we'll keep our allies buffed throughout the entire fight. We also get Reactive Spell. When a creature provokes an opportunity attack from you by leaving your reach, you can take a reaction to cast a spell at the creature rather than making an opportunity attack. The spell must have a casting time of 1 action and target only that creature. So since we aren't real handy with weapons, this allows us to use our spells for opportunity attacks if we ever get those. We can also perform the somatic components of spells even when you have weapons or a shield in one or both hands. So to cast spells, we don't have to put down our shield, lowering our defense, or put down our weapon. Then at level 10, we get Divine Intervention. You can call on your deity or pantheon to intervene on your behalf. As a magic action, choose any cleric spell of level 5 or lower that doesn't require a reaction to cast. As part of the same action, you cast that spell without expending a spell slot or needing material components. You can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. This allows the cleric to cast a spell without using one of their spell slots. So if you need a spell of a certain level and you don't have any spell slots left available, then you can still use this ability to cast that spell. This would also allow you to cast a spell that you don't have prepared. So if there's a spell that you really need to cast, but you didn't prepare it for the day, this is a way that you'd be able to do that. Now let's go look at some more of the spells from some of the higher levels. You can see that we get 2 more cantrips. You can choose any of these that you would like. Toll the Dead is a good one. It's one of the higher damaging cantrips, especially if you are targeting something that has already taken damage. It does only 1d8 damage if something is fresh, but does 1d12 damage if you're attacking something that's already taken damage this round. Next, let's take a look at some additional first level spells you might consider. Detect Magic is a good spell to have, allowing you to know when there's some sort of a magical effect happening. Sanctuary is a spell that'll help protect you from harm by making you more difficult to attack. If we go up to second level spells now, we have Aid automatically prepared as part of our class. You can choose up to 3 creatures within range. Each target's hit point maximum and current hit points increase by 5 for the duration. And this one is not concentration, it lasts for 8 hours. This is a spell that you can cast at the beginning of your adventuring day and raise everybody's max hit points by 5 and their current hit points by 5. This is also a good spell to use in an emergency situation when you have multiple party members that are unconscious and at 0 hit points, because not only does it raise the max, but it also raises their current hit points up by 5, allowing you to bring up to 3 creatures from unconscious back into the fight. Hold Person is a good way to give an opponent the paralyzed condition, taking an opponent out of the fight for a little bit of time so that your party can focus on someone else. Lesser Restoration allows you to remove the blind, deaf, paralyzed, or poisoned condition from one of your allies. Those are all very debilitating effects, and being able to remove them from your allies so that they can be useful in combat is very important. Prayer of Healing is a good out of combat spell for healing, as it allows you to heal a large amount of characters for a decent amount of health. However, it takes 10 minutes to cast, so this isn't something you would do during combat, but in between combats. And finally, Spiritual Weapon is one of the iconic Cleric spells. You create a floating spectral force that resembles a weapon of your choice and lasts for the duration. The force appears within range in a space of your choice, and you can immediately make one melee spell attack with it. As a bonus action, on later turns, you can move the force up to 20 feet and repeat the attack against a creature within 5 feet. This is a spell that continues on round after round, as long as you maintain your concentration, and allows you to do damage with a bonus action while still leaving your action available for other things. At level 3, we'll begin with Aura of Vitality. An aura radiates from you in a 30-foot emanation for the duration. When you create the aura, and at the start of each of your turns while it persists, you can restore 2d6 hit points to one creature in it. This lasts for up to a minute, so you could have 10 rounds of healing somebody for 2d6 hit points. That's going to be an average of 7 hit points a round, and if you can maintain it for the entire minute, that would be an average of 70 healing for members of your party. Next, we have Mass Healing Word. This is just like the regular Healing Word, but allows you to target more creatures. This is a good spell when you have a lot of party members spread around the battlefield that are taking damage and you need to give them some hit points, but you can't get to all of them. Revivify allows you to touch a creature that has died within the last minute. That creature revives with 1 hit point. The spell can't revive a creature that has died of old age, nor does it restore any missing body parts. If your party has a devastating attack, such as a fireball, or maybe the breath from a dragon, and you can't keep everybody alive and somebody dies, you can use this spell to bring one of the people back to life. And finally, Spirit Guardians. Spirit Guardians is another classic Cleric spell. Protective spirits flit around you in a 15-foot emanation for the duration. If you are a good or neutral, the spectral form appears angelic or fey. If you are evil, they appear fiendish. When you cast the spell, you can designate creatures to be unaffected by it. Any other creature speed is halved inside the emanation, and whenever the emanation enters a creature's space, and whenever a creature enters the emanation or ends its turn there, the creature must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 3d8 radiant damage or necrotic damage. On a successful save, it takes half as much. A creature makes the save only once per turn. This spell gives you an aura around you that punishes any enemies that come within its range, as well as any enemies that don't leave the range on their turn. At 4th level, we have Aura of Life. This one also gives you a 30-foot emanation. While in the aura, you and your allies have resistance to necrotic damage, and your hit point maximum can't be reduced. If an ally with 0 hit points starts its turn in the aura, that ally regains 1 hit point. This is an excellent spell if you know you're going to be fighting undead, as they do a lot of necrotic damage and reduce maximum hit points. And then it can also bring unconscious allies back from the brink. Banishment is a good one to remove a aberration, celestial, an elemental, a fey, or a fiend from combat so that the party can focus on the rest of the enemies until that banished creature comes back 1 minute later. Next, we have Freedom of Movement. You touch a willing creature. For the duration, the target's movement is unaffected by difficult terrain, and spells and other magical effects can neither reduce the target's speed nor cause the target to have the paralyzed or restrained condition. Target also has a swim speed equal to its speed. In addition, the target can spend 5 feet of movement to automatically escape from non-magical restraints, such as manacles, or a creature imposing the grappled condition on it. Having a party member that is paralyzed or restrained or grappled is a huge penalty on that character. Being able to remove those conditions from them and help them to not be put back in those positions allows that party member to be way more useful to the rest of the party. At 5th level, we're going to start off with Flame Strike. Flame Strike is a small area of effect spell that does 5d6 fire and 5d6 radiant damage. If you can catch 2 or 3 enemies in this spell, you can do a lot of damage to them. We also get Greater Restoration, which, much like Lesser Restoration, removes conditions from our party members. However, now we can remove an exhaustion level, the Charmed or Petrified condition, a curse, including the target's attunement to a cursed magical item, any reduction to one of the target's ability scores, and any reduction to the target's hit point maximum. At this level, we also get Mass Cure Wounds. Much like Cure Wounds, this is a good healing spell, and much like Mass Healing Word, this allows us to heal many creatures at once. And finally, at 6th level, we're going to look at Heal, which allows us to heal an ally for 70 hit points. It also ends the blind, deafened, and poison condition on that target. And Sunbeam. Sunbeam creates a line of sunlight, and every creature in that line has to make a Constitution saving throw. On a failure, it takes 68 radiant damage and is blinded until the start of your next turn. While concentrating on this until the spell ends, you can create a new line of radiance on your turns. So this is a spell that you can cast once, and throughout the entire course of the fight, use it again and again and again, constantly blinding your enemies and dealing damage to hopefully more than one of them if you can get them lined up. And the blinded enemies are going to have a harder time hitting your allies, and your allies will have an easier time hitting them. So that is going to be your basic cleric. It's a life cleric with lots of healing spells and lots of abilities that boost their healing. If you're a first-time player, these are excellent choices to make while making your character, and I hope that you found this guide into the character builder helpful to perhaps help you navigate the character builder as well. If you're still with me and this video was useful, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe so that you can see more videos in the future. And until next time, keep on hacking the dungeon.